Yeah. The ceremony will begin once everyone is seated. The ceremony will begin in 1 minute. Please silence all phones and devices. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, students, and faculty of Science Hill, good morning and welcome to the Science Hill High School Veterans Day program. I am Cadet Major Athena Cook, the battalion commander of our school's junior ROTC program. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for our national anthem and the presentation of our colors. When the anthem is played, please place your right hand over your heart. Those in military uniform render a hand salute.
Let us pray. Dear Lord, today we ask that you bless the members of our armed forces. For those who bravely gave their lives, grant them eternal rest. For those who served, we offer our gratitude. For those who are serving, grant them courage, hope, and strength. May they ever experience your firm support, gentle love, and compassionate healing. Be their power and protector, leading from darkness to light. This we ask in your name, our Lord, Jesus Christ. Amen.
You may be seated. At this time, I would like to welcome Command Sergeant Major retired Kevin Harry and Cadet Major Kenton Rowe, as well as our school administrators, teaching faculty, and junior ROTC instructors here at Science Hill. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month of 1918, World War I officially ended. 1 year later, Armistice Day was created to recognize the soldiers who fought in it. Finally, in 1954, the name was changed to Veterans Day to honor all veterans of all U.S. wars. Veterans decided that if it was required, they were willing to lose their time, a limb, a leg, their eyesight, or even their lives in military service to reinforce the values our founding fathers established during our nation's founding. Our veterans were willing to make that kind of sacrifice. There's a saying, all gave some gave all, as a reminder of the commitment that it takes to serve in the military on our behalf. We owe a lot to our veterans for answering the call when we needed them. Political discourse, differing opinions, our right to speak our minds, vote our conscience, and choose for ourselves was bought by the effort, blood, and time invested by veterans, many of which are in our company today. Most of all, be grateful for the small, overlooked liberties you have in your everyday life. walking your dog, playing your favorite song, watching your favorite movie. Veterans' sacrifice, bravery, and devotion to their country is worth taking the time to understand. Listen to their stories, take their advice, and thank them. Learn why they felt the need to put their life on the line and to put their needs secondary to the nation's when they served. To understand why veterans served is to more fully understand your American history through the perspective of the people who lived it. So please, take 5 minutes out of your day to find a veteran and thank them. If you're sitting here today as a military personnel or a veteran, then on behalf of the students of Science Hill, I'd like to thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a distinguished ETSU Army ROTC battalion member with us today. Cadet Major Kenton Rowe is currently a senior in the battalion training and operations officer. He is a political science major with minors in communication, military science, and history. Major awards earned include the Air Assault Badge and the Austrian Army Sports Badge, the latter earned by some of our cadets alongside Kenton Rowe 2 school years ago. He will graduate this December as a distinguished military graduate and a summa cum laude. He has received an educational delay to attend law school at the Washburn University School of Law in Topeka, Kansas. Upon completion of law school, he will enter the United States Army Judge Advocate General Corps, where he hopes to be stationed in Camp Humphreys, Republic of South Korea. He attributes his success to his wife, Mallory, an Army officer in the Chemical Basic Officer Leadership course. Today, we are pleased he is here to share some thoughts and advice with you. Please give your attention to Cadet Major Kenton Rowe.
I'm going to turn this so that way I can better talk to everybody here, and so I can talk to the people on the left as well. Well, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us as we celebrate and honor Veterans Day, a day set aside to recognize our veterans' incredible dedication, courage, and sacrifice. As an ROTC cadet preparing to enter the Army myself, it's humbling for me to be here today speaking about a topic that holds such personal and national significance. Veterans Day gives us a chance to look back, to appreciate those who came before us, and to recognize the values that they've handed down. Today, we honor more than 18 million veterans who have served our country. Veterans Day began as Armistice Day, marking the end of World War I, the war to end all wars. At precisely 11 a.m. on the 11th day of the 11th month in 1918, the guns fell silent. It's a day that symbolizes peace, a reminder of sacrifices made for our freedom and the resilience of our armed forces. In 1954, Armistice Day was formally recognized as Veterans Day to honor all who have served in any capacity, whether that be in peace and/or wartime. It's now a day not only for history, but for heroism, unity, and respect. As a current ROTC cadet, I spend a lot of time thinking about what it means to serve. I think about the great heroes in military history, men and women who have set the standard for us. Names like Audie Murphy, a World War II Medal of Honor recipient, who at one point held off an entire company of German soldiers alone. Now, if you're wondering about how much a company was in the Third Reich then, it was about 200 soldiers. He was a petite guy, but he had the heart of a lion. Or, more recently, we can look at Sergeant First Class Alwyn Cash, who despite severe burns, returned to a burning vehicle multiple times to save his fellow soldiers in Iraq. These stories and heroes are why I'm inspired to put on this uniform. However, another side of military life is equally important to recognize today. Veterans have a unique perspective on life, some hard-earned humor, a wealth of knowledge, and let's face it, some of the best stories that you have ever heard. They know that military service isn't always dramatic. Sometimes the little humorous moments get you through. Ask a veteran about their time in the service, and you'll probably hear about the adventures with their buddies, the pranks they pulled, the endless barracks inspections, or the ways they managed to make the most out of things, whether it was picking the best MRE and trading snacks, trying to get by with your barracks inspection so the sergeant doesn't see the lint, or PT before the sun even rose. It's not all medals and ceremonies, it's shared laughter, teamwork, and memories that last a lifetime. In ROTC, we're still on our way of earning the title of veteran. We're not quite there yet, but we get a taste of the camaraderie, those early mornings, the teamwork, and yes, the humor. However, I still believe we are working on those stories. Just the other day, I thought about the veterans who came before us while I was out in the cold morning PT, and I asked myself, why am I here? A question I am sure that many veterans have asked themselves. Well, I don't believe that there is a correct answer to that, but I am sure that the answer for each and every person, whether what they come up with, is always worth it. Veterans Day reminds us of what we're stepping into as we prepare for our paths, a long line of service, duty, and integrity. The generations before us have shown us how to lead, how to care for others, and most importantly, how to serve something greater than ourselves. They've shown us that you don't have to be the biggest, the strongest, or the most fearless to make a difference. All you need is a heart willing to give and the determination to stand up for what's right. As a future officer, I recognize that our veterans' sacrifices allow us to stand here today. They protected our way of life, secured our freedoms, and inspired us to continue the mission. On a day like this, I want to thank all the veterans from the bottom of my heart, my fellow cadets, and future soldiers. So today, let's remember those who have served and given so much and appreciate them. Not just today, not just here, but everywhere and every time. Let's laugh with them, learn from them, and honor them. Because in the end, every one of us in uniform, past and present, shares something in common. A love for this country, a commitment to our brothers and sisters in arms, and duty beyond ourselves. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your example, and thank you for allowing us the privilege to follow in your footsteps. Thank you, everybody, and have a happy Veterans Day.
Thank you. I would now like to introduce Command Sergeant Major retired Kevin Harry. Command Sergeant Major Harry began his career in the United States Army as an electronic warfare intercept aviation systems repairer in October 1984. He spent 4 years in military intelligence before he attended the Special Forces Assessment and Selection Course in May 1991 and was assigned to 3rd Special Forces Group Airborne at Fort Bragg, North Carolina until May 1997. He has been deployed to Haiti 3 times in support of Operation Uphold Democracy, then moved on to the West Virginia National Guard, where he worked over 8 years in the counter-drug program, along with 2 deployments to Afghanistan in support of Operation Enduring Freedom. Over his many years of service, he has been awarded the Legion of Merit, 2 Bronze Stars, 5 Meritorious Service Medals, and many more. Today, he is here to share his advice and experience with you. Please welcome Command Sergeant Major Kevin Harry.
Good morning, and I just did my notes over the trash can about 5 minutes ago, so bear with me. First off, a round of applause for the Science Hill Band and the Junior ROTC Color Guard. I'd like to thank Science Hill faculty, staff, the students, Lieutenant Colonel Meston, First Sergeant Byington, and the Science Hill Junior ROTC for the honor of speaking at this year's Veterans Day event. If you are a veteran, please stand. If you have family members, even extended family, that are veterans, please stand. This is just one example of what makes our nation so great: selfless service. A round of applause. You may be seated. That wasn't in my notes. So, do we have any golf fans in attendance? Golf fans? All right, what color jacket do Masters champions wear? Green. A quick Google search will determine that I am not a past Masters champion. I am a Special Forces alumni and veteran. I decided to go in the military instead of attending college because I didn't know what I wanted to be when I was 18 years old. And that's probably the most difficult question I was faced in my entire life. What do I want to be when I grow up? It took me years and even decades to figure out what I wanted to be. When I went, I joined the Army, went to training in Fort Dix, New Jersey, and then up to Fort Devens, Massachusetts. And my first assignment, as I just told the cadet, was Camp Humphreys, Korea. I enjoyed those first years of getting experiences that I did not get in East Tennessee, visiting foreign countries, meeting new people, and understanding other cultures. But after 4 years, I decided to get out because it still wasn't what I wanted to be when I grew up. When Desert Shield, Desert Storm was in its initial phases, my brother was deployed into Saudi Arabia. I was out of the Army as a veteran, but I had the calling to go back in. And so I went, talked to the recruiter, and he said, you have two choices. You can be a linguist, which was military intelligence field, or you can be Special Forces. And I said, well, what's so special about these forces? And he said, sign here. That took me to Fort Benning, Georgia, to jump out of airplanes. And as I was loading the airplane, I just realized, or I realized again, that I was afraid of heights. Those were challenges that I put upon myself to make me a better person. I went through Special Forces training at Fort Bragg, went to medical training at Fort Sam Houston in Texas. Again, didn't know a lot about medicine, and prior to attending the Special Forces Medical Sergeant course, I was lucky to know what the sticky side of a Band-Aid was. Through years of service in the Special Forces and meeting new friends and visiting far away places, I look at some of the experiences that make me the person that I am today. And most of it, if not all, is what I observed from the great Americans that I served with or that I witnessed or had friendships with. One being Medal of Honor recipient Herschel Woody Williams. He passed about almost 2 years ago. He was the last surviving Medal of Honor recipient from World War II. He received his medal for charging machine gun nests and bunkers on the island of Iwo Jima, and he was armed with a flamethrower. He was a small country boy from West Virginia that just wanted to prove himself that the cause that put them on that island to liberate the oppression of Japan in the region, he was willing to sacrifice his life for those to his left and right. Another experience was my last military jump. It was in Normandy, France, the 73rd anniversary of D-Day invasion, and I jumped onto Saint-Mère-Église drop zone. When I landed, my 14-year-old daughter was there. I walked over about from here distance to the band to where the VIP tent was. There was a 98-year-old World War II veteran that I had the honor of shaking his hand. And the first thing out of his mouth was, tell me about your experience today. And I quickly humbled me, and I turned it around and said, sir, please tell me about your experiences. Your heroism and dedication and selfless service was instrumental in changing the tide of World War II. Again, the greatest generation, a member of the greatest generation, was humble enough to want to listen to other people's story and I was honored enough to listen to his story. Last experience I'll talk about is about a year and a half ago. I had the honor of being in the White House and witnessing Colonel Paris Davis receive the Medal of Honor from President Biden. Another humble American that, even though wounded in the jungles of Vietnam, ensured that his operational detachment and those forces with him were evacuated first, and he was ordered to get on a medevac helicopter and refused it to go back because he still had one member of his ODA in the firefight who was wounded. He did eventually get out, and about 40-some years later was presented the well-deserved Medal of Honor in 2023. I say this because as you look to your futures, I ask that you make informed decisions based on other people's experiences. Consider how the military can supplement or play a part in your lives. I did not know that joining the Army because I didn't want to go to college would result in such a wonderful 32-year career for me. An undergraduate at East Tennessee State University, paid for by the military, a master's degree from Mountain State University in West Virginia, paid for by the military, and a daughter who's currently in nursing school that is benefiting from my education benefits. It really did change my life. And I often talk to groups, and there's always something that the military can teach you or an experiences that you'll get. And it doesn't matter if you join the active duty Marines, the Air Force Reserve, the Army National Guard, you will get experiences, you will get discipline, you will get friends for life, and again, an opportunity for that to be a stepping stone for the success of your careers. I do say, in looking back, and what I tell my daughter is always do your best. Do something in life that you enjoy, and be mindful of the sacrifices and the efforts of others. With that, happy Veterans Day. God bless each of you, and God bless the United States of America.
Thank you very much. Our veterans serve as part of our nation's rich heritage, which includes a unique service song and flag for each branch of service. We will now introduce each branch of service, followed by the cadets presenting them. The United States Army flag is being presented by Cadet Second Lieutenant Ford Wright. The United States Marine Corps flag is being presented by Cadet Private John O'Toole. The United States Navy flag is being presented by Cadet Private Adanya Blevins. The United States Air Force flag is being presented by Cadet Corporal Gage Blankenship. The United States Coast Guard flag is being presented by Cadet Private First Class Davion Blair. As our very own award-winning Science Hill Concert Band plays each respective service song, I ask that each veteran stand when your branch's service song is played. The band will now play the service medley. United States Marine Corps. The United States Navy. The United States Air Force. The United States Coast Guard. Next is our wreath ceremony. Every year, as is our tradition here at Science Hill, the Hilltopper Cadet Battalion presents a floral wreath to a spouse or family member of a veteran. By doing this, we recognize the service of all veterans who have served our nation so honorably, as well as their families who support their military careers by being constantly uprooted and worrying about their deployed loved ones while keeping normalcy at home. Presenting our wreath today is Cadet Sergeant Major Carmen Wright. Receiving the wreath is Science Hill's teacher, Mrs. Courtney Codwell. After the attack on Pearl Harbor, Mrs. Codwell's grandfather, Roscoe Craig Charlie Bayless, enlisted at 19 and was assigned to the 510th Military Police Battalion. In December, he was sent to Arlon, Belgium to help thwart a German advance in what became known as the Battle of the Bulge. Upon returning from the military in 1946, he married his longtime sweetheart, Jane Allison Sisk, where before her passing in 2020, they were married for 74 years. After his service, he returned to Happy Valley as a teacher and a coach, where he roamed the sidelines for 59 seasons. He guided the Warriors to 964 victories, 9 state tournament appearances, and a state championship in 1974. Bayless passed away at the age of 98 in February of 2022, leaving behind a lasting legacy of dedication, perseverance, and community impact. It is customary for taps to be played at military funerals and wreath-laying ceremonies to bid farewell to our fallen comrades. Taps is the traditional bugle call signifying the end of duty for a soldier, sailor, airman, Marine, or Coast Guardsman. Cadet First Lieutenant Daniel Keller will now play taps. Will everyone please rise and place your right hand over your heart? Personnel in military uniform, please render a hand salute. Thank you. Please be seated. Next is our POW MIA ceremony. The flag is currently being presented by Cadet Corporal Carter Goring. More than 80,000 American servicemen and women are missing today. Hundreds of military and civilian personnel work around the clock to locate our fallen heroes and return them to the United States. 8 Science Hill graduates are considered missing. They are Class of 34, Captain William B. Davis, United States Army. Class of 36, Flight Officer William E. McCart, Jr., United States Army Air Forces. Class of 36, Second Lieutenant Dewey E. Crow, United States Army Air Forces. Class of 37, First Lieutenant Clarence C. Corpening, Jr., United States Army Air Forces. Class of 39, First Lieutenant James B. McCamey, United States Army Air Forces. Class of 40, First Lieutenant Lion E. Agee, Jr., United States Army Air Forces. Class of 41, Aviation Mechanist, Mate 2nd Class, Nelson F. Andrews, United States Navy. Class of 43, Sergeant Charles W. Cloyd, United States Army Air Forces. Let us take a moment of silence to remember their sacrifice. Thank you. Now presenting the 2024 Iron Crusaders Drill Team. Since 1935, drill has been a key facet of the discipline and teamwork embodied by the Science Hill Junior ROTC Drill Team. On the left, we have Cadet Corporal Gage Blankenship. On the right, we have Cadet First Lieutenant Isaac Bienemy. These cadets will be performing with a 1903 Springfield drill replica rifle weighing 9 pounds. Your applause is welcome at any time. Today's soloists are the best of our junior ROTC drill team. Isaac Bienemy has just begun to lead the Iron Crusaders team. He has taken on the responsibility of guiding his team to multiple local, regional, and national awards, along with the team's deputy, Gage Blankenship. Both soloists have performed in local and regional competitions and plan on both competing in the 2025 Nationals in Daytona, Florida. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and school administration, I want to thank you for attending today's Veterans Day ceremony. Students will now be dismissed by our principal, Dr. Carter.
All right, thank you, ROTC, for a great program. We want to thank our guests for being here with us and sharing words of wisdom with us. Students, thank you for your behavior during the program. At this time, you're dismissed back to second period. Go back to your second period class. Thank you.